Ta-da!
Good morning, Dreama.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, everybody. This is
Ah,
Shannon and Dreama again from iEvolve TV.
yes.
This time change has thrown me off. Like usually you can see me by now, so I'm turning all kinds of lights on. It's crazy. How are you?
I'm good. 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 I'm awake, sort of. We're like we're ahead of ourselves a little bit, but boy, man, um,
Yeah.
this time change has messed me up. I'm like, what time is it? Uh,
Right. I just had a bunch of things pop up. Like I don't even use that email service. Why are you asking me to sign in? How about if I just close you? What do you
yeah,
think about that?
that's a good idea. Oh,
Yeah. What
oh,
what in the world's going on?
oh,
Just craziness. So, um, we have kind of a big topic today, but we want to do an overview, right?
yeah. Yep. Good morning.
So,
Good
and I
morning.
listened. I listened to somebody else doing a podcast on it today, this morning. If you can believe it, actually earlier than 7:30,
Yeah,
and she was really good. She was really good. Yeah. So,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a good day. It's gonna be a good day, people. Good day.
my
Good day.
strings hanging out,
Yep.
my sweater. There we go. Like use this as a mirror sometimes too.
Yeah.
Fluff. And
Oh, look at you. You look horrible. That's what I say to myself. Oh, look at you. Scary. Ooh.
You're on
This
the other side of the table now.
this like get up. Yeah, I know. I moved to the other side. I'm over here by the dancing bears today. Dancing bears make you feel good. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, I got up pretty early and just sort of laid there. I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, oh no, I gotta get out of bed. Uh, you know, and
Aw.
I look like I rolled off of a cliff and fell off and straggled my way up, and here I am. Oh, woohoo!
You're
But that's
funny.
cool. That's cool.
I
That
better start our
ooh, what's
chat.
this? What's this? What's this? I don't know. Oh, it's hair. Okay. Anyway,
Oh, it's
yeah. So
here.
it's all good. Yeah, my hair is like fluff. It's like absolute fluff. Cotton
Yeah.
candy. Cotton candy hair. I should dye it pink. Then it would really be cotton candy. That'd be interesting. But today we have a
I
great
don't
subject.
think those last very long though, do they?
What, a dye?
Yeah. Like
Uh,
colors.
well, I did dye my hair like cranberry red, and you have to wash your hair in cold water, and that's no fun. I mean, you like every time you get washing your hair, you got to wash it in cold water. It's just so freezing. You're like, "Ugh," you know.
Yuck. Well,
It's
I probably wouldn't wash my hair very often.
no, I didn't. I was trying. I did it maybe a couple times a week, but because I'm a hair washing fanatic, I love to
Yeah, I'm
wash
a big fan of that hair washing.
and I utilize my shower as a cleansing time. I mean, I heard something the
Yeah.
other day. It was amazing. I do believe Sadhguru was talking about it. Maybe it wasn't, but I was listening to a podcast, and they said if you have to take 5 showers in a day to cleanse your energy, then you need to do it. And
Oh,
I thought, well, that's really good. I like that because I have a lot of stuff that tries, that when I have a client or whatever, I feel like a lot of times I need to shower immediately when they leave
yeah.
because it rinses all stuff off that really sort of came in with the client, and
I sometimes feel like that. Like people, I mean, I've even said like, God, just being around that person, I feel like I need to cleanse my soul.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
And
mean, you think
so
about like listening to our language that we use and like to describe something, like that's absolutely what you feel like.
yeah, that's how I feel. So I'm like, after I heard that the other day, I thought, you know what? I can take 2 or 3 showers. I don't care. I don't have to wash my hair every time, but
No,
just do
no.
that
Sometimes
cleansing.
that's necessary.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to wash your hair too much, but my hair is fluff anyway. But back to cold water, washing your hair in the cold water, that's no fun. But
No.
woohoo, yeah, so this is going to be good. I'm excited to chat about psychic gifts and how we all have psychic gifts. This is going to be good. And
Yes.
I have had so many people ask me questions about psychic gifts and um, wanting to learn how to move more strongly in mediumship or in psychic giftings. And how do I do that? How do I improve my gifts? I know I have them. Well, we all do have them. And it's like everybody's got um, kidneys. Well, most people.
Right.
or whatever. Everybody's got eyeballs, everybody's got it. And it's learning how to expand it and learning about it and learning how to expand it and tuning and fine tuning and elevating your personal energy. I think elevating your personal vibration is so powerful because that is the primo to connecting vibrationally to other energies and reading energy.
Right.
For some people it comes very easily. Yeah, that's fine, honey. And so for some people it comes super easy for them to read energy, to see energy. For me, it's been something I've experienced all my life since I was very young, of having personal experiences with seeing energy, feeling it. I was always one of those people, and I do believe it's prone to women. Don't you think that we can walk in a room and just feel what's going on? A lot of
Well, I think we function more from I'm gonna make sure I get the hemispheres right. The right brain a little bit more.
yes,
We're feelers.
big time.
We
Yeah,
just tend to.
yeah, yep. So you can walk
Yep.
into a space and just feel, oh, something has happened here. There's been an argument in this house or this room, or something has happened in this house. We can really feel into that. And some of us are more feely than others. I think
Right.
it's it's all part of our divine creation of who we are, I suppose. Each of us
Yep.
are chemically made a little different. That's like everybody has a fingerprint. We're all a snowflake and we're all different, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Um, uh, so some people say there's
Okay.
five psychic senses,
Right.
and I just recently heard that there's some people think of them as six.
Yes, I just seen that too a minute ago when I did a scope right before we started on the five clairs, and another one popped up and said, no, there's six. There's six.
Yeah. Which,
And
what did they say that there was more?
I left that site because I'm
Oh,
like, I went back to the five. I'm like, I'm going to go back to what I sort of teach and know. But
sure.
said I believe the six probably is. What'd you say it was a minute ago?
It was being an empath,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is they kind of discern that to be different from, I think, clairsentience. And we should probably talk about what clair means. The
yeah.
CLAIRE,
Claire.
a clair,
Yes.
a clair, not
Yeah.
an eclair. Eclair that would be like a pastry, right?
A Claire. Good. Can we go get some?
Yeah.
I could go for some
All it all it
donuts.
means is,
Well,
yeah, it just means
donuts.
clear.
Pass them over. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It just means clear. That's what it
Clear.
means.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Yep. So I got the five clairs, which I have, which is the clairvoyance, which means clear seeing. Clairaudience is clear hearing. Clairsentience is clear feeling. Clair, what?
Which one are you on? What's the next letter?
Clear smelling. Clair,
Oh,
Lillian?
clear air and yeah,
I can't even say it. Claire
and it's spelled differently in some situations too.
Okay, then there's Claire Gustance.
Yeah, Gustance.
Gustance, clear tasting, and clear cognates, which is clear knowing. I've met a lot of people with the clear cognates. They just like, and and nobody can tell you any different. I know that I know,
Right.
Yeah. So, so that is,
Here we go. Maybe. Oh,
here we go.
I have to turn on that thing. There we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Perfect. I love it. Yeah.
So it's the word that you were, I can't, I'm like pointing with my pointer, like the word that we were having trouble with is the last one.
Is psychic smelling, which I have, how many, I mean, I don't know how many, everybody has some of these. Sometimes everybody has all of these,
Yes.
and then they have them to different degrees, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like what they tune into, what they pay attention to. And so, yeah. And it's just what they pay attention to. Like, you probably have some degree of all of these. It's just what is more predominantly, because your guides, your angels, if they're bringing you a message, they're going to bring it in the way that you're going to pay attention to. So if you like, hey, I'd like to shut this off and I'd like to spend more time with the clairaudience, that's what you'll do. So
Yeah. Clairvoyance. The psychic smelling is very interesting. And not everybody, I believe, has that. But I've had experience with psychic smelling. Psychic tasting, well, yeah, because I've tasted blood before. So I guess that
yes.
was right.
Or you said to me, like, why do I taste pennies? I've heard you say that.
Yes.
No idea.
And then the knowing, the claircognizance is just, you know that you know that you know.
Yeah.
And the hearing, of course, yeah. You hear.
Yeah. And I also don't think that they happen in isolation any more than we function in this realm in isolation either. So they're just an extension on what we already, you can already taste, I smell, you already hear. But I think what people think is that that they possibly, like, for example, the psychic sight. It doesn't mean that you suddenly see people walking around. It might be you're shown a picture in your daydream, your mind's eye, or you've seen it in your dreams. That can be psychic sight. And then there's different types of psychic sight in that you're dreaming about something that's happening and you can see the different outcomes in your, like, perhaps possibly in your dream or in your waking state. But also that's where the precognizant stuff comes in, where
right
where you see something that has happened. I talked about that on another podcast where my cousin knew about her. She saw it in her dream. Like, she saw all of the things that occurred, and her friend told her about weeks later. And she was like, no, that happened like a month ago. I dreamt that. And her friend's like, no, it was last week. And that's a precognizant. So it's like knowing that something's coming, or so those can be, very useful if you can discern if it's just your mind or if it's a message, or that you should look into it. Because had she like paid attention to it, maybe she would have been able to say, hey, have you checked have you done one of those, what is it that you plug into the wall that can discern whether or not there's stuff, the carbon monoxide detector, that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
You need to plug that. Need to get one and plug one of those in. And, and the thing is what you don't hear about is you don't hear about either people just like they forgot about the dream, or they, it just doesn't go anywhere. They don't ponder it, at all, and just poof goes away. Or it does happen and they plug in the carbon monoxide detector, and again, poof, it's like, it doesn't, it didn't happen. Like, oh, what are the chances of that? And they just kind of move along.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we function, I think, most of the time, even those of us that do tune in. But
okay, I got here. It's driving me crazy.
Okay.
Manuel said, Mary meet. So I say, Mary meet to you. And then he said, tell me what I don't know about myself. And so my claircognizance started working, and my clairvoyance started kicking in. And I seen, and this is what I heard Spirit say, that you made an agreement in the past, a agreement, or you made a agreement for what is the word here? I'm trying to figure it out how I heard it.
Maybe do you have your pencil and paper? Maybe you want to write it.
No, because I'm lazy and I didn't get it because we were starting early. You made an agreement in a past life for poverty, and so this might sound off, but are different. But so this is why maybe in this life and realm, you sometimes have a problem. You're thrifty. You're not wasteful. You're thrifty, and you're not cheap, but you're thrifty, and you don't waste nothing. So that's why, because you had a past life agreement of a poverty agreement.
So he was incarnated perhaps with somebody that took a vow of like maybe
poverty.
he was a priest or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. So that is that's what I seen. I seen like, oh wow, okay. All of a sudden you were packing a past life and you made this agreement, this poverty agreement, and spirit says, okay, so this is why now I have I'm thrifty. I'm not wasteful with things. And I don't like wastefulness. And so that's you said, tell me what something I don't know. That's what I feel you don't know. So that's what I feel spirit wanted me to tell you. So you made this agreement. But anyway, very good.
Well, he stopped talking.
He said he's a dream walker.
No, but he said that as you were talking, you just didn't see it.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, he stopped
Yeah.
talking. So, okay, well, we'll see. Oh, anyway, that's what I'm feeling like I'm to give you. Anyway, so that's what yeah, he was talking, and then man, all these things just started coming into my field, and
My nose is ectoplasm.
yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah.
Good grief. Every single time.
Oh wow, that's too funny. That's awesome. But yeah. So oh my.
Okay, so
Okay. So let's see.
he said that is really what's happening this year, word for word.
Good. That's awesome. That's good. Yeah.
Validation ectoplasm.
Yes. She's every time I'm starting to do something, she's like runny. It starts just coming. I'm like, okay. Every time I'm like getting all this download, spirits downloading. So
my snot's downloading.
and the snot is running. So she's like, okay, what are you getting? The snot's running. What's going on? Something's happening. Yep, that's awesome. We're connected totally.
Yeah.
Clairvoyance is when I'm just reading what they say here. This
Yeah.
is when visions past, present, and future flash in our mind's eye, our third eye, like a daydream. Sometimes
Yep.
I see like a film going off. Many of us are highly visual and able to understand an idea best when it is written or sketched out. That's why I do when I do write a lot and write and when I channel, I write and I see pictures, and so I draw pictures. I'm getting better at drawing pictures, actually.
I know.
When we write it out or sketch it out on canvas, visual people often choose to be artists, builders. When people that are clairvoyant, they become artists, builders, photographers, decorators, designers, and so forth. If this sounds familiar, your clairvoyance is most likely your dominant sense.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty dominant for me, honestly. That I see, because I see everything, but I see auras, I see.
Mhm.
Like my eye just goes on and like like a flashlight.
Yeah. I think if somebody actually has some inclination and they know that they have, maybe that's something that they share with you.
Yeah.
We should probably mention that if they're trying to develop their psychic abilities, I think really the first step is understanding who is, no, maybe not who, but wait, what? That walks with you in you know, as like your guides, your
Like who your
angels.
guides are, right? Yeah.
If there's something that you don't want to see, like you, like for example, you tell your guides that you don't want to see somebody in their death state.
Right.
You don't want that, right?
No.
Give me give me a little bit more information, but not that. Thank
Don't
you.
show
Because
me
it's
that.
traumatic. It's
Right.
traumatic.
Yes.
And I think they've showed you how maybe they've died,
Yes.
but not necessarily, how they looked in their death state. So
Right. Or
that
trauma.
would be an example.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't want to see things. I don't want to be washing my hair in the shower so I can wash it. That's like the biggest fear for me. And your eyes are closed and you wake up and there's somebody in there with you. I don't want to see that. I do not.
Right.
But it's not that you actually see things in front of your eyes. It's like
Right. For me, when I'm in that place, I'm like in the shower. I have a lot of experiences in the shower. I don't know. I think there's just a cleansing that like I said, I'm doing a spiritual cleansing, and all of a sudden energies will show up. They're not like in my face. Well, sometimes they are, but most of the time they're like, I can feel them in the room. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
who's in the room with me? I can feel you, and then they'll speak to me and tell me, what's going on. And a lot of times it's right before I'm meeting with a client, because I'm like, they're their
Right.
people that they are asking for start showing up, you know,
Yeah.
and excuse me, and their guides and whatnot.
So usually some things that will happen for me is I don't necessarily I don't get all I don't have that clear hearing all the time. Sometimes, yes. So I'll see like something out of my, corner of my eye, and it might be just nothing, but something grabs my attention to get me to focus on whatever is there. And then I will get a feeling. And I think what people might think that it's going to be something very profound. These are they're subtle energies.
Yeah.
But if anybody's ever experienced where their like left or right arm is incredibly cold for a moment, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will give us and usually, and it has to do with the energies in the human body. And if you're familiar with your Sushumna line and kind of the meridians and how that works,
Yeah.
you're moving forward energy. Your male, your masculine is on your right side, and females on the left. And so
Yeah.
if you're feeling something chilly, usually just kind of general rule of thumb, I mean, as a creator being that is you
Yeah.
can tell your guides to show it to you differently. But the rule of thumb is that if you're chilly on the right side, that's going to be a male energy, and on the left, it's going to be female energy. So that's, or soul or whatever, or that's usually somebody that's actually been incarnated, maybe an ancestor or something. So I think what people think that you're going to suddenly feel and have all the knowing that there is to, based on whatever is in that presence, and that's not how it works. It just isn't. And then you've got to decipher what the heck it is if you want to.
Right.
Then you start tapping into some other things, and you maybe just sit quietly and wait for a vision, or you wait for, when you hear, you don't necessarily hear like, hi, my name is Bob, and my favorite,
Right.
my favorite thing to do is, watch football. I mean, that's not how it's going to happen,
Exactly.
So.
It takes it takes a lot sometimes to hear, because it's different. Clairaudience, which is clear hearing. This is when we hear words, sounds, or music in our mind. On rare occasions, spirit may be able to create audible sound, though it takes a tremendous amount of focused energy. Some of us feel us best retain and comprehend our information when we hear it spoken. Our natural talents tend to lie in our auditory facilities, often making us gifted musicians, singers, writers, public speakers. If this feels right for you, clairaudience may be your leading sense for you.
So like when it's a different, I always say that I hear it right here on the right, I guess this is my right side, the right back of my head. Like, it's not like you actually hear out here, or not always. Some people do, like you do.
Right.
But it's not like I'm hearing here. It's like I'm hearing it from right here, the back of my head. And it's not always like in a moment, I know exactly what they're telling me. And it might be something very simple. But I don't know how to make words for it. I don't know how to do that. And that takes me sometimes a minute. And that's why people go to people like you who can come up with and put it into context and understand it. It takes me sometimes a little while to process it and be able to tell somebody.
Yep. I know. That's you don't have to shut up. He says, okay, I'll shut up.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw what he was saying too, that he says his left always feels frostbite.
Yeah. I feel cold everywhere. It depends on how much intention, and what's going on at the time. I just get freezing cold.
So he might have, he says he's a dream walker, so he probably taps into some of that information. He just has a lot of female energy.
Yes, that was exactly what I called myself many years ago. I'm a dream walker because I do. That's what I do. I do most of my work in my dream state. I do a lot of work. I do a lot of work in my day state too, but when I'm awake. But I do a lot of work when I'm in my dream state, and I wake up feeling it the next day. Oh, where would I go last night? Where was I walking around last night? My feet hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so That's pretty cool. Clair sentience is clear feeling. Man, everybody feels that. You just know, you're
Yeah.
going down the road and you like, I have to get a loaf of bread. You just feel it, and then you go home without that loaf of bread and you're like, dang it, I didn't get the bread. And you knew that you knew you needed to go home and you needed to get some
So
bread.
he's saying his two little fingers on his left. The first thing I feel like is, did you have a shoulder injury? Because
Yeah.
it might be neurological, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's outside of a psychic message. You might have some neurological, something that's going to hang around because
Yeah.
it's not healing for purpose. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that was my first thought. Oh, shoulder injury or your trap. And the shoulder can go up, all the way up through your trap and down your lats. So, your chicken wings back there, your angel wings back there.
Yeah.
So that kind of those are all kind of part of your shoulder mechanism. So if there's something that got injured, maybe it's just not completely tuned back in. But that's a good place to meditate then, because then you can reestablish those pathways. Neck in 2003. Well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
But why? But there might be something going on with your neck that's holding you back from completely healing that. So what's that message, perhaps?
Right. Yeah. And neck is all about being strong-willed. It's really saying, I will not, and becoming flexible, becoming more, allowing yourself to become more flexible. Yeah. And is being stiff-necked. And that's strong will. Very strong will.
Rubbernecked.
Rubberneck.
That's something different. Sorry.
Oh yeah. What's a spinal cord stimulator?
And I wonder if he gets more feeling after the spinal cord stimulator.
Yeah, probably so.
Like a Sten, I have a TENS machine. Those are fun. Have you ever used one of those?
A what?
A TENS machine.
Oh yeah. Little pads. You just
yeah, and it'll like make your parts move. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, those things are amazing. They can really put out some power. Yeah, I feel like Manuel, that you've had many past lives. Honestly.
I think it's Manuel.
Manuel, I feel like I see many past lives and past life agreements and things that have all rolled into your current state of what's going on in your life, and agreements that you like. Spirit just said you agreed even to your wife. This is the person you chose her a long time ago.
Aww.
And you had met in a previous life, and you searched for her and you found her. And so this is a very connected relationship that was so connected for a long period of time. And she's a really unique soul, beautiful soul. So it's very cool. Very cool.
Hi, Chris. Good morning.
Wow.
It's like my aunt's best friend. So.
Oh, hello. Good morning. Good morning. So glad you joined us on this beautiful morning, talking about psychic gifts, and that we all have psychic gifts, and we all can move into those psychic gifts, and we can really work and train ourselves to move into to those gifts. Nah, she said
nah. Well, she's passionate.
Yep. She's passionate with that. It's okay. Okay. Then we're gonna go into clear.
I also thought when he was talking about, that's totally what's going on. Like those, if when you're doing your prayers or your meditations, a mantra for abundance, and because money is just energy, and you got to be open to allow it to flow into you.
That's good.
Flow to you, and then so I would just recommend something like that.
Yes, that's good.
I actually have one written on my bedroom mirror. So, and the intention was that when I'd get out of bed, I'd read it, and, I usually get up with, one eye open and then stumble out of the bedroom and forget to do it. But that was the intention.
Well, that's good. I know every day when I get up, I try and remember, and I start my day with all things are working out for me. And all things are working out for me. This is going to be a beautiful day, and all things are working out for me. And
we can have abundance in financially. We can have abundance in love. We can have abundance in health.
Health.
but just opening up and having and being and welcoming abundance is probably the biggest message. I mean, just I don't know. That's what makes sense best to me. So
Yes, and I think connection is so important. Your connection with those other souls that are in your life, or that Spirit has connected you to people. There's people that you meet that you just like. There's just a general vibratory connection with them, and you feel like, wow, this is and those are very important, and because we need that in our life, to stimulate us, and to help it helps broaden in the dimension that we live in, because we are passing through this third dimension. We're growing into the fifth dimension, and we don't want to stay in this place. We want expansion. And so you find those people that are like-minded like you, and a lot of times when you have strong psychic gifts, you don't find that all the time, because you are the weirdo. You're the one that's always walking around, and you're hearing things, you're seeing things, you're feeling things, and it's super empathic a lot of times, and you feel everything.
It's sometimes a strain on people that, when you have even like family and you have a conversation with them and they're saying one thing, but the message you're getting is so much more. And so, I don't know that I do a very good job of just staying on what's coming out of their mouth, because and sometimes people are open to, like, because I'm getting so many more interpretations, I'm going to just flow, like my head is just swirling, so I'm going to try to conversate to that, to what I'm feeling. Not everybody wants that.
Right. Exactly.
No. So yeah, filtering that's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
So we covered sight, feeling, hearing, knowing.
Yeah. What were we on? I was going to.
We're on knowing. Oh, by the way, I did notice that when we were talking, sometimes the ectoplasm will come from my left or my right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on the right. Before it was the left.
Okay. Okay. We're going to clear smelling. What's that? How do you say that even?
It's spelled sometimes differently.
Clear. Clairalience? I don't know. This is being able to smell odors that don't have any physical source. Instances of this could include smelling perfume, cigarette smoke. I have smelled that before, of a deceased relative, used as a sign that their presence is here. When our sense of smelling is strong, we may find that certain smells connect us to past memories. Wow, I've had that. Or you may be drawn to working as a florist, a wine taster, or a perfume creator. Interesting.
So he said, pull my finger. Yeah. That'll give you some psychic smelling, huh?
Yeah.
So that's one of like the first things that came in for me, that just
psychic smelling.
Yeah. And it came in like it was so profound, but at the same time, visions happened at the same time. So like I got the smell and I'm like, what the, and then it would be, and I would know who it is. I would got the psychic knowing. I'd know who it is. I saw the vision, but the first thing that like woke me up, it was like a bam to my nostrils, was the smell. And it was weird things. Like I'm hearing, in West Michigan, and I smell, and anybody from Alpena knows, they know that smell of Abitibi. And it hit me so hard. And really? I saw my friend driving down 2nd Avenue. I knew exactly where he was. I knew exactly, like, he was not feeling good about where he was going. And of course he was working, so I couldn't call him and say, I think I sent a message, and that it was crazy. Another time I was in a evening professional development at my old job. And so there was, it was like a seminar, like a conference thing. Mm-hmm. I smelled maple syrup so strongly. I'm like, really? Somebody have like French toast or something? Like, it's 7 o'clock. I'm eating. Hungry. Oh, wow. Sorry. It was maple syrup, and it was for a moment. And I knew exactly who it was. I got less vision that time, but I knew exactly who it would apply to. And it was my friend. She lives in Alpena too, or did at the time. And she was really upset about something. Well,
Okay.
her daughter was young and had gone in the house. I mean, she was like 6 or 7. Gone in the house to get a drink out of the refrigerator. The door off the refrigerator, like the door that holds all the, condiments on the door, broke, and the maple syrup came out.
Oh, you're
and
kidding.
no, and so she
Wow.
it broke, and the top broke at the same time. And
Wow.
so instead of picking it up and like at least just setting it on the counter, it was just all over the kitchen floor. And so she was really, really upset,
Yeah.
And so those are the 2 really profound ones. Well, there's another one too, but
Yeah.
yeah. So like, I think
the cigar thing. That's for me. I smell.
They wake you up. Mm-hmm.
Cigars of other people that have transitioned. I've smelled that, and I do. It might sound sort of strange, but my experiences with dark energy, I can smell it.
That's my dog coughing.
Oh my! It smells like sulfur almost. You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah.
I don't. Whenever I smell that, I'm like, yuck, no, this isn't happening, and I start, I just take action. I believe that is the reason I smell it, just to take instant action to get that out.
Well, it permeates the smell, like it's like so strong, but it's it's just for a moment. And when you start going,
you're
trying to get it, you're supposed to try to catch it again, and it's not going to come, but it as soon as you smell it, because it's just for a moment.
Yes. My mom and my family, anyway, there is, was it my mother or maybe her sister, that they always smell funeral flowers when somebody's going to die.
Oh.
And, yeah. I'm like, ooh, that's different. I mean, there's just different people have different gifts and how it just rolls for them, but back in there's another, we could do a whole show on that, on what we would call backwoods magic, maybe. And that back in the woods,
like the hoodoo voodoo.
Yeah, back up in the Appalachians and stuff, they have their own way, honestly, what they believe about healing, and they would call it sort of a magic. And so back there, they had, and this is the stories I was told, that the children, some of them would develop these gifts of smelling. There was a gift of stopping blood, where they would go and if they had somebody in the hills, that so and so's over here and she's got a fever, okay, send little whatever, send little Betty over here, and she's going to put hands on them, and fever would stop and go down. And those were gifts, and they would be like, this one can stop blood, and this one can stop a fever, and this one can do all different gifts. It was just amazing. And that's how I don't know if they still function like that or not in the mountains, with the mountain people. I would love to know. That's one of the things I do have on my list I want to do. I want to go up in the mountains and see if this is still actually the way they do a lot of things. But I do know the mountain healers that move through, that would be a whole nother broadcast or whatever, podcast. But it's an interesting thing to me. I don't know, because that is that's sort of a psychic gift. You think?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think that's why I said, I don't think they're in isolation of each other, the gifts.
No,
there's just gonna be one that seems to like make you stop and like pay attention to it, whatever it is.
Yes. It's like being able to stop a fever, and my mom, she's told me she's seen it, because she had some of her brothers and sisters that did these things, and they would be like, okay, you need to send this one over here. She can get rid of this fever. And they would just lay hands on the person and the fever would go,
Right. I mean, that's also, that's what they teach us in Reiki,
Yeah, exactly.
It's life force energy.
That's true.
We could have a whole podcast on that. And
yeah, that's true. We need to do that.
Bring in biblical references, because of, some information that I don't know that a lot of people know that, about, that it is your divine gift to be a spiritual being, and to be, everybody heals differently, but heal yourself and others, but first you do yourself. That's even something that when we're learning Reiki, that you're supposed to practice on yourself at first.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's we do. We have to, I always tell everybody, I cannot give you anything I have not walked through myself. I can only take you as far as that's why we all have to cross so many rivers of different experiences, whether they're painful or pleasure, so that we can come back and say, wow, I've been there. I've had that kind of pain. How would you know what a headache felt like if you never had one,
Right.
And somebody's trying to tell you, I have a headache,
Right.
I don't know what you're feeling. What's a headache, But once you've had one or a migraine, you have total empathy and your understanding. Oh, you need to go lay down and you want to be in the dark? No problem.
Right.
I totally understand where you're coming from.
Right.
So we're at clairgustance, if I'm saying it right. That is clear tasting, the ability to taste something that isn't there. This experience oftentimes comes out of the blue when a deceased loved one is attempting to communicate a memory. We will have a particular food or beverage that reminds us of them. If we have a heightened sense of taste, this would make us natural chefs, good bakers, or food critics. So that's interesting. If you have a heightened sense of the clairgustance, I guess that's how it's said. That's very interesting. I don't have a lot of psychic tasting myself. I mean, I have had experiences tasting blood, which I knew that was, so I'm like, okay, this is not normal, but I don't really focus on tasting things. When I see food that somebody's trying to communicate to me, I really liked pizza. I don't taste it. I see it. That's great.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's kind of, the description there is, really straightforward, but sometimes too, you might be tasting something, recall a memory, that kind of things. Your memories aren't necessarily a spiritual message.
Yes.
But sometimes, again, I don't think things happen in isolation, but if that brings up something, maybe not necessarily like traumatically emotional or anything like that, but that can just because you're activating a sense can, especially if it's really good pizza. I mean, it could be a spiritual experience.
Yeah, exactly.
That you're activating the other senses too.
I mean,
at the same time.
I like food.
Like if you're eating something that maybe is soul food for you. For me, that's usually, sauerkraut and potatoes. That, and I'm eating that, and then I start to get a feeling. I start to get the psychic feelings like I'm cold on one side or the other, or I then smell something. Like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's kind of you're activating a sense in this dimension, and then other information comes in.
Or you think about maybe you're cooking something that maybe your great grandmother made, or somebody that has already transitioned. That can really stir up that psychic activation too. Don't you think?
Yes,
I think so too. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look up something here real quick. Blah 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 blah. Okay.
What were you looking up?
I think I'm looking up activation.
Oh, how to activate
each of the clairs in different ways, because there's, this was all about this was more about what they are. I'm looking up activation. So people that would say, so how do I do this?
So I think the first thing is to pay attention.
Bye. See you later. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Who's that?
Manuel says he's got to go. I have to go.
Oh, I'm like, I thought like maybe your husband was there. I'm like, who are you waving to?
Okay.
Now I forgot what I was saying now. Paying attention, just simply paying attention to it and trusting that the information that's coming in when one of these things happen is not in your imagination. There's definitely been times where I've had something and I knew it was my imagination, but when you're feeling like, no, it's not, like, this is something, that's actually intended to bring me a message, just sit. It's okay to just sit with that, And I remember when the smelling kept, was happening, I kept waiting and like hoping like another one would come. And it's going to come when it comes. So
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. So
Yes, that's true. I like
so
that.
that would be the first step, is to trust what's coming in. After you've actually asked for protection from your guides, you have to give them direction. This is what I don't want. This is what I do want. This is what I want to welcome. This is what I want you to not allow me to experience. That would be first step. Second step would be just to trust and be okay with what information comes. And then then there are exercises. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
what I was sort of looking up, exercises. One of the exercises that I have encouraged people to do was take 3 envelopes, put in the envelope 3 different cards. If say you have a deck of cards, don't even look at them, throw them in the envelope. Or another thing you could put in the envelope would be some pictures, and then mix them all up. Make sure they're good, white envelopes that are lined so you don't see what's going on. Mix them all up, lay them out in front of you, and feel, use your that would be psychic knowing. And you could use your sight and sort of your sight beyond sight with your third eye, which one and what they are. And then on the outside of
Or
the
even
envelope,
start with what color.
yes,
What
what
color?
color it is, what maybe, yeah. And then you could go into what is that called? What are the
Suit.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Good, thank you. And what suit it is, what color it is, and sort of write it on the outside. Then you open the envelope, look at them.
I saw it in your brain.
Yep, you did. And so then it sort of will teach you how to flow with your psychic sight and your psychic knowing. That's a really good one. I have encouraged people before that wanted to know, how do I expand my gifts? Let's see here. What else they get? There's like all kinds of
well, I think that one, like some people are really good with that. Others might feel like I'm just guessing, and yeah, you are. Yeah, you are at first. And
yeah,
but that's part of the exercise, the other thing is using divination tools.
That's a
and
good
people
one.
might be afraid of what that means, but
Yeah, people are
it's just
afraid
you.
a lot of times.
Unless you're afraid of yourself, it's just you. So things like tarot cards or oracle cards, and even like not even reading the book. Like that's one of the things they actually recommend you do, is that you read the book first. But
Yeah,
I would go with not, like, don't read the book. Just pull cards, ask what the universe, just simple, like, what does the universe have to tell me today? Pull a card, look at the picture, and see what you get from that. See if you get a feeling from that. And
there are oracle cards too. If you're like,
oracle cards.
Oracle cards are a little bit different. They might have like I have oracle cards that are like angel cards. They're, what other ones are there? There's animal cards. I do a lot of shamanic things. So I do lean a lot into spirit animals and what they mean. And when I see a spirit animal with somebody, I know that animal represents something for that person. And it could be with them just for a short time, or it could be their permanent, for a long period of time. This has been a spirit animal for them.
Yes.
So,
and like you have, I mean, you and I talk about this, so we believe this, and some people don't. That you also have a family totem as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the animal that's in my family totem that always comes up is a white wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Always. So, like, it just is. I don't know. Yep. But if you're seeing, like, one day, I was in a parking lot and there was like these crows, like right in front of my car. There was 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And I think they were there in the parking lot. I noticed them when I pulled in, and as I was leaving, they were like in my path, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to pay attention to you. And then I'm like, there's a third. There's always, like, you think about like the gods and goddesses, they usually have 3 of something.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just looking around. And you know what? Sure as, it was in a tree right, like, cause parking lot, some type of like little mounds of dirt in the tree. There was like a small tree, and it was there. There was a third one. And so of course, I, come home and I grab my, what is it? Medicine cards, grab my medicine cards out and look up what is a
Pro.
raven or a crow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's another way you can use your cards or use your, like if you keep seeing a dog or you keep seeing a black dog or all these things, like sometimes the black is a message, sometimes the dog is a message.
A lot of it is being very aware, being
Yeah.
very, very aware. I mean, people that are very aware, they're like, okay, so today I had this experience, you know, with this energy, or I found change on the ground, you know.
Yes.
And I found, you know, things that are out of the ordinary. I found a feather. I was getting out of bed and there's a feather laying there. I used to find feathers everywhere, right?
Yes.
My dad transitioned. I mean, I in fact got so many feathers, I started pasting them in a book. And I probably have 30 feathers. I still look at that sometimes. I'm like, wow, that was so amazing. They were just every day I'd find another one, another one. And I knew it was him dropping me these feathers. And so that was just, for me, that was just, I had this psychic knowing, and plus I also connected with him, in other ways. But anyway, so it was, so if I want to develop my psychic sight, that is how I would do it. If I wanted to develop my psychic feeling, that is something you just listen to your inner guidance, right? You just follow that inner guidance, whatever's flowing for you, and trust. I mean, sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, and there's many of these, and we're just talking about some that are you can just like integrate into your space or you know, life.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to tell you about this one time.
Okay.
I was making a major decision, a career, like where I would live decision, and because things were, well, I mean, it was rotting my soul. So something needed to give, right? Something's got to give. But how, you know, it was kind of like, it was one of those decisions. Do I go or do I hold, you know, do I stay, you know, steady in that space? And obviously I don't think that, you know, in hindsight that staying put was not a good idea. Okay. So, so I asked my guides, my angels, to show me something that was not in my you know, you know, where I generally function. Like wasn't in my job. It wasn't at my home. It wasn't something that I would just run across anyway and take notice of. Mm-hmm. So what I asked for is I asked them to show me at three different occasions rainbow unicorns.
Okay.
That's what I came up with. You know, so it's something that I wasn't going to necessarily, I didn't own anything that was a rainbow unicorn. My daughter didn't have anything like that. There was nothing at my job or anywhere else that represented a rainbow unicorn. So, and you know, it was right around my birthday. I walked into like a Walmart. There was a whole girls section and they had big old rainbow unicorns on their shirts. And then they had the stuffed animal and they had all these other things. Okay. So that was one occasion. Yeah. And there was like, you couldn't miss it. Like, it was like, bam. Yeah. And that was like right after. The next day we had my birthday celebration. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the third occasion, but she gave me a card that had a rainbow unicorn on it and a watch that had, I don't know why. It was some kind of theme thing that was really cute and funny. Yeah. And then there was a third time. You're supposed to give, you know, be open to this happening over again, 3 days. Yeah. Yeah. Three seems to be a common theme. So, yes. So 3 days, 3 things, you know, usually that's just, you know, there's not a coincidence so much with 3. So, and there was a third one too, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, holy crap. Like, and it was a lot less validation for me more than anything that the universe was saying, you are right. You need to go. You need to be done. Yeah. And I did. And that very next day, or that as soon as I got home from my birthday celebration, I typed my resignation and out I went. And there you go. Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. That is, that's really good. That's almost like fleecing, you know, sort of. Back in the old days, as we'd say, well, we're going to fleece God, you know, we're going to ask for a sign, you know, I need a sign from the spirit that I'm supposed to move forward with this, or I'm not supposed to move forward with this. And that's really cool. I did that many times in my life. Yeah.
for major decisions.
Yes.
Because you
And
just,
you could do it for small ones too,
yeah,
but you feel like you really want to be careful with your decision. That's helpful. So
yeah, that's the cards, honestly, some people are really opposed to cards. But
yeah. And I think that's probably a religious influence, but
yes,
unfortunately the history of that is incorrect. The actual history of them is not anything of the
yeah,
occult or anything like that. So
exactly.
um
Yep.
if you read up on the real history, and it's out there, the
Oh,
incorrect is usually attached to some kind of wackadoo religion, something.
yeah.
So
Well, that's what, a lot of the, of any of spiritual things got shoved under the rug
yeah,
by and said, no, we don't want nothing to do with that. We're going to say this is the only thing you're going to listen to and
well,
do, you
what they
know.
want to do, well, I think originally with like the Catholic Church, you were only to get only spiritual information and guidance from your priest.
Yep,
Turn
exactly.
off your inner knowing. You don't know
Yeah, you don't
anything,
have any psychic gifts, right? You don't need any
right?
because we're going to tell you what you see, feel, hear,
Right.
know, and everything else. So, and
Correct.
so that, and with that, it just became even expansive over the whole um, sector of religion to get rid of anybody that said they know better. You know what I'm saying? And so they did that to the shamans. They said, "Nope, we don't want you because your
We don't
practice."
want you to actually heal people.
Right, your practices are not normal to us and they're not, so we want to stay with what we believe is right. And so
Yeah.
all this has to be sort of cut out. And so that brought in a huge amount of fear when it came to anything that you would, the word divination, that you were taking and actually taking your own power and saying, I don't need anybody to connect to anything for me. I can connect to the divine myself.
Mhm.
And I can use this. I can use, back in the day, we used to take, honestly, I remember this too. You would like have a question, you take the Bible and you'd stand it on its end and you would say, okay, what's the answer? And it would fall open wherever it did. And
Oh,
you would go, bam, right there. Okay, there's my answer. And,
so
and whatever
that's
that
kind of the same thing.
what is
Yeah,
this? That's the same thing. That's the same
it is.
thing. And you would do that. And because it was the Bible, we didn't have a problem with it
Right.
but if we said, oh, we're going to take these cards and we're going to add, well, which one? Bam. And that one falls out when you're shuffling, that
Yep.
we have a problem with it.
Same thing.
Or a pendulum, or anything that, what else is there? Oh, there's those rocks, whatever those things.
I was just actually, you must have knew I was about to say that, runes.
Yeah.
So so you call them ruins, the runes.
Runes.
So they not only is it Scandinavian alphabet, but they were
Yeah.
used quite widely. So even Northern European, I mean, even like parts of Germany and the British Isles. I mean, so, but it's also an alphabet and used for message. So they're not just for woo-woo purposes, but that also takes a lot more study to get into. It's not so easily attained. So, but yeah, runes. If
I
you're
think,
feeling drawn to that.
I think we need to do a whole podcast on tools.
Yeah, we could
Yeah, I
totally.
think so. Psychic tools, psychic tools, psychic
I
tools.
don't know what those are. Okay.
I don't either. I can tell I haven't had my coffee.
Another one is, and this gets very woo woo because I think the Hollywood is depicted in such a crazy way,
Yes, yes,
is scrying.
yes.
So I do not recommend that you scry with mirrors, well, even crystal balls, really, but
Yeah.
don't recommend that. That's another topic of like
Well, yeah, you can go. That's what I'm saying. In the tools,
weird things.
Ouija boards. People.
Yeah, that would be another.
That's a huge one. A lot of people have
Yeah, no good.
with. A lot of people have a huge problem with it. They see one, they scream and run, because of the stories they've heard or the experiences they've had as children.
You're also doing things with people that might not have the same intentions as you, because it's
Yes.
a game. It's a
Yes.
game. That's why it's just not. I mean, there's so many other things.
Yeah.
So you don't have to, I just wouldn't recommend that.
No.
You're just starting to try to
That's
tap
not
into
going to
your,
expand your psychic abilities.
yeah, if
That's
you're
gonna
just wanted to, yeah, there's many ways to tap into your inner knowing, and you're not going to probably do that alongside somebody else in that context.
Yes.
But scrying, like, we all do it and people don't know that they do it. So you're sitting around a campfire and you're staring into the fire because it catches your eye. That's scrying. You start to bring message, or you think of something.
Or you see pictures in the fire. Yeah, you see something dancing in the fire, and that looks like an angel.
Yeah, that's scrying.
Like a horse. Yeah.
So if you're gonna scry, or looking into a pool of water, make it something elemental. Looking at the clouds, something that pulls you into the earth.
Yeah.
That's safe. That's safe to do. So that would be a way to use scrying. Crystal balls, I don't know. I don't know. And I think it's probably the influence of Hollywood. It is. It's always the weird gypsy woman, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the game stuff, there's a lot of energetic imprint on those things.
Yes.
I'm not touching it. I don't want a Ouija board in my house. Don't want my daughter touching one. You did something fun to one. You're like, I cleared it, and you put holes in it, and then you use it as like
it's a key wrap.
Yeah, key wrap.
wrap.
And I'm like, what did you do?
Yeah.
What's going on? And I was like having like a moment. My heart was palpitating.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, hey, this is a really old one. It's actually valuable because it's so old, but I wanted to sort of making fun of it. Honestly, I was like, it's nothing, I cleared it. It's nothing. It's a piece of paper. It's like a piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
But it's everything is what you set your intention. That's what I just read too. Another thing. I know our time is running out, but what you set your intention to. I heard, will crystals help me with my psychic ability? That and I thought, okay, that's a good question. Because crystals and stones do emit an energy and a vibration. And so some people are very connected to utilizing those for expanding their psychic ability, whether it be, their clear sight or whatever,
Right. I personally feel a little subtle energy from Himalayan salt lamps. And that's probably because there's some aspect of like fire or light that's emitted, and it's salt. So, but it really depends on who you are as a person. Like I have no earth energy. So in my like natal chart. So that's there's another one that you can use. I don't feel very connected to, but it's important for them to be in my space because they do help ground. Like, look, I have one right here. I have an amethyst.
Yes.
because I do. Yeah. Because I don't have that naturally. So that's helpful, but that's more of, like health maintenance or energy maintenance, to keep you healthy. But for me, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, that process helps, improve but I would be more connected to things like that are water, something water related. And that's probably something with the salt too, because most of our bodies of water are salt. So,
that's right.
It just really getting to know yourself really well. That's a good way to do it. A natal chart. And
why does it take so many years?
It does. Well, you have to grow into it. And I should mention, if you look up your natal chart, you have your sun sign, like I'm a Scorpio, but you have 11 other houses that deal with, each have their own specialty.
Yes.
And so I like the idea that is a template for you to grow from. It's not who you necessarily choose to like present yourself as. Like, you're like, oh, this is an area that I actually really don't appreciate that, or, whatever. It's a guideline to grow from.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at that. So it's not necessarily somebody reading your stars and telling you how you're going to be forever and this is who you are. No, it's where you grow from.
Yeah, exactly. It sort of sets a little template for you. So you understand you're growing and understanding yourself better. And man, the more you understand where you are, who you are, where you came from, what you incarnated into this life for, Wow, it can be so it can
Oh,
it can
I
be
got
so
another one.
great. Yeah, go ahead.
Numerology. If you
Oh yeah.
notice, if you notice certain numbers all the time, that
Yes,
can
that's
give
a good
you a
one.
clue of what you're trying to the message that, because it's you messaging you, by the way. I mean
Yeah.
even your guides are helping you along that way. To getting to know yourself. So like if you happen to notice 1111 all the time, look up what that numerology number means, or
Hmm.
222 or 333 or even 666, which doesn't necessarily mean what you think.
Right. Four,
um
four, four. Yeah.
mhm.
That's
So
true. Good. Numbers are big deals. Yeah, for a
yeah,
lot of
and
people. I have
yeah,
people.
and your name actually has a numerology, has a like there's a numeric. It's pretty easy. It's like mine is 7.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, hi, Peppers.
Yeah, my dog's like, "Where's my breakfast?" You forgot about me this morning.
Yeah.
I forgot you. When we're done, I'll get you breakfast. Yeah. Oh,
So
she's so
yeah, you can use numerology as well. And
yeah.
I mean, if I see the like a number a lot, or if I whatever, I'll go quick look it up. It doesn't mean that it's going to it's not like you hinge everything on these things.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I don't rally my wagons around anything.
No.
That's what I call it. In the old West, they used to rally their wagons. I'm like, okay, let's circle the wagons. No, no, I don't want to do that about anything. I just want to present and leave the options open. Present and be
Well,
open.
and sometimes too, it's a message about your, and you'll know this. If you're practicing these things, of your current timeline. It's the direction that you're paddling your canoe
Yeah,
sometimes, right? So
yeah,
if you want to change direction in your canoe, you just do. I
that's
mean,
right. Just move it,
so
change it. That's right.
you're the creator being, like, do it.
That's
So it doesn't say, oh, this is going to be your path no matter what.
no, you create
No.
your reality,
Right.
and that is very powerful.
Got
And
less left nostril.
that's why we talked about we talked about last week about the law of attraction. We attract to us what we are, and that's why birds of a feather
Yes.
do flock together. If people are around you that you don't want around you, then attract something different. Change your vibration,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's going to change everything. But as for
Yes.
psychic abilities, I think this was really
that
good.
that gets to a lot of other things too, that if you hear like the same story from that one friend that's over and over about their husband or their kids or whatever, and it just sucks the life out of them as they describe, and then it
Yes.
in turn sucks the life out of you because they're just so bleh about it, that it's up to them to move through that space and that energy, and when we talk about raising a vibration, um, you know oftentimes when we do these things, if it's like talking about us, um, those factors, they either adjust to you or they go away.
Yeah.
So it might mean that that person goes away. Um, Hopefully not. If it's somebody that they
Right.
say, "Oh, have you ever heard? I've seen a real change in you." Well,
Yeah.
guess what? You changed your vibration. That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that is
Or
a huge thing with psychic gifts too, is vibration. You
Mhm.
cannot, you think you, I mean, if you're not going to have a lot of psychic giftings flowing if you are in despair and you're down here in this low vibratory area. You've got to raise that vibration up to love and above, come into, joy,
Love and above.
love and above. That's right, which is really very high. And where like despair is like 30, love is like 600. I mean, in the scale. So just
Yeah.
raising that scale to yourself, and that's going to open your sight and your psychic
Yeah.
clairsentience and hearing. You're going to just,
Mhm.
because you're flowing at this higher vibration, and that's where all the energy's at. It's not down
Yeah.
here in the low space.
And we
There,
should mention that when
yeah,
you say 30 and like 600,
yeah,
like that's just you know, us needing to label something, or like not maybe you and I, but whoever
right.
put those
That's
put
how
those
they
numbers out
label
there.
it. Yeah,
It's just gauges to help explain a concept. Those numbers actually don't mean a whole lot.
no,
But if you can understand that it's just to explain a concept, That's what it is.
Yeah, yep.
Mhm.
It's just, yeah, like you said, that's a vibratory scale they came up with. I don't know who came up with it, but they labeled
Right.
it so that they could give people an understanding how
Right.
low it can go and how high it can go, so that you can
Right.
get an idea. Wow, I can stop. I don't have to stop. I can just keep going right up the vibratory scale and just until I'm just illuminating, and then everything is just lighting up for me. Bam, bam, bam. Things light up.
Right.
And
So, but that goes back to, I was going to mention this earlier when we talked about Reiki, and I know we need to wrap this up,
yes.
but Reiki, it is a Japanese word because a Japanese guy figured out a way to put a process together, a gauge, like, to
Yes,
explain the
yeah,
concepts to other people so that he could teach it to other
yeah,
people.
exactly.
So it's life force energy. It's your divine, your own divinity. It's stuff that you are, have access to at any time.
Yeah,
You can even explain it like it comes from your heart center again. Like if a kid falls down and busts open its knee, mom puts a band-aid on it, kisses it, and it's amazingly better. That is a very simple description of what Reiki is,
yeah,
because the kid feels better, right? Well, it's from love. So that's all it is. And learning how to be attuned to harnessing more of that, and then pushing it essentially through your heart and your hands. That
yes.
he figured out a way to help people
Mhm.
understand that process
Mhm.
and to use it as an actual tool. So it could be laying on of hands. We've heard that in
Yep,
religious. It's the
it's
same
the same
thing.
thing. Exactly,
That's all.
exactly. And it's like utilizing your chi, your life force, moving
Your
it
team.
out. That's right, and holding that, feeling that in your hands, and moving it into the body, into someone else's body. Who to do it on your own body? I know people. I do it on my own body. Yeah,
Yes.
all the
And
time.
when the difference between like Reiki and things like mediumship or channeling is Reiki heals the practitioner
Yes,
as it heals that other person, maybe in perhaps a different way, but there's no draining of
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 the energy. Yeah,
energy
the
when
life
it
force.
right.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Where you can
yeah,
when you're channeling and stuff, if I can get very drained from that, and that's at that poops me out quite quickly. It depends what I'm channeling, but yeah, that can be exhausting.
our
Yeah.
friend Joshua's
Hey, good
um
morning,
yeah.
Joshua. Nice to see
Yeah,
you.
we started early today because I started a new job and I have a meeting at 9. So
So we started at 7:30 today, and yeah, but it's been really good talking about psychic gifts and abilities. It's really been awesome,
yeah,
exceptional, and
lots of information.
lots of information. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's been good. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking if there's anything else that I feel like,
Um, yeah, don't scry into mirrors.
no,
Don't scry into Ouija boards.
no, no, don't do
I
that.
wouldn't recommend anything that's of the actual earth.
Yes,
Stare into a hole. I don't care.
yeah, yeah. And go sit by a tree and really connect to that tree's energy. That's a really great gift.
Right.
Aw, happy belated birthday! Yay!
Oh, whose?
Nice, yours. Joshua said
It's
happy
really
belated.
belated. It was in like November. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
Well,
okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, my birthday is until July. I'm just gonna let y'all know.
And you have a
As
birthday
soon as July
month.
hits, I'm willing to accept all gifts, compliments, and everything.
There's there's really no need to know the date because it happens every year
It
and it's a
happens,
whole
but it's
month.
in July. Yes, I am definitely watery and swimming.
Yes.
Yes, but anyway, so this has been a
Well,
good morning.
yes, very good.
Uh,
So, oops, I still am sharing our thing, but that's what we covered today. So,
oh yeah, perfect.
here
Yeah,
we
that
are.
we talked about. There we are. Yay, yay! It's good to see
So,
you and
that
everything.
is a really cute top you've got there.
I know. A
It's
new
that's
friend gave
adorable.
me, isn't it so cute?
It's so cute.
Yeah, nice and cozy too. I thought, ooh, nice and cozy for a nice
It
cozy.
is.
Yes,
Well, I love you,
love
and
you too. And
everybody have a great
you
weekend.
all have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Maybe we'll
Okay.
do the tools of the trade next week. Get our toolboxes out. That would be fun. Got
Oh
lots of
gosh,
fun stuff we could
like a
show.
field
Talk
trip.
about. Yeah, we'll do a show and tell.
Well, we'll start with your house. That will take us for the next year.
That'll take us all day.
Will take us through the next 10 years of
I got
podcasts.
my toolbox. It's like freaking loaded with crystals and.
Oh, you're just gonna do your box. You're not gonna
Yeah,
do
we're
like
not gonna
your
do everything. No,
series?
no, just a box. We'll just bring a box of all of our favorite tools.
And then what's in Dreama's apothecary cupboard?
Yeah, that would be a whole show on itself.
Wow.
I had somebody ask me the other day, "What is all this crap?" They came in my house. They don't know, not necessarily
Keys.
all the time. What is all this crap in here? Like, that's all my healing stuff.
My unlimited supply of bay leaves.
Yes.
Your name's going on this one.
Yeah. It's good. Well, you have a great day, honey. I'll
You
talk
too.
to you later. And
All right.
yeah, blessings, everybody. And
Yep.
namaste.
Love you.
Love you.
Namaste.
Bye.